Movie opens with 30 seconds of post-apocalyptic landscape porn.
They're late.
Yeah, totally. I mean, in a post-apocalyptic world, everything runs on a strict schedule. 2 maids, 2 runner. While Wicked owns several airships, they chose to transport their virus-immune saviors by train. You know, because those are way less robbable than airplanes. Wait, what? Minho was taken by Wicked at the end of the Scorch trials back to their base for harvesting. So what the is he doing on this train, other than bloating the runtime? At the end of the Scorch trials, Thomas told everybody he was going to save Minho, but when they asked if he had a plan, the movie cut to the credits, because quite clearly he did not. So I guess the plan was, let's hope Wicked uses trains to transport people so we can rob not only the train, but Fast 5.
Send backup!
Roger that. On our way.
Hey Fred, why didn't they just use our plane to transport the kids in the first place? How am I supposed to know, Bob? Wicked pays me in tequila shots. Holy how did you get promoted to tequila shots? I've been here longer than you. Networking, Bob. Now listen. Also, why wasn't the plane flying along with the train in the first place? If Wicked thought to have the security in place if needed, why not have it closer to the actual thing it's protecting?
This is crazy, Thomas!
While the credits say this character's name is Vince, I'm pretty sure the script calls him Doubting Thomas. Right, I'll make my way to the firing squad now. Also, we've had 2 movies and counting with characters saying like this to or about Thomas. Yet they keep following this kid's direction, even though he's never once really proved himself to be capable of anything other than getting people killed or kidnapped.
Come on, Vince!
How does this work exactly? Without Vince behind the wheel, keeping the car steady, that would be zigzagging all over the train track.
Jump!
Seriously, Thomas is the f***ing worst. So Vince Diesel is now either dead or has 0 skin left on his legs, right? Oh yeah, this is a Maze Runner movie, where physics do not exist and the actions have no consequences. Also, remember when there were actually mazes in Maze Runner movies? Good times.
019er, be advised. You're taking on boarders at the rear.
One positive to come from this movie is now I have a new sex role-playing game for me and the missus. Yes, as we all know, the Dune Buggy, or whatever the f*** this is, has such maneuverability as to avoid airship missiles. That and this guy can't shoot for This strategy should not pay off for Thomas because the Wicked soldiers clearly have the high ground. That's Obi-101. I guess it's possible they could have timed all this to exactly where Newt was hiding out, except for the fact that they couldn't.
No!
So there are 2 cars full of immune kits. Instead of simply looking down one of the many openings in the roofs of these cars, he goes with the absolutely impossible method to find his friend. It's like Horton hears a Minho, but way dumber. Because we are only here for Minho. The rest of you can go f*** yourselves.
Squirrely bastard.
Sure, that's a good excuse. It's not that you're incompetent at your job, and that you've been less than 30 feet behind this Jeep for probably 5 or 6 miles now and haven't been able to shoot them down. Wow, that worked well. Why not make more than one of them, just in case they came from a different direction and or you could kill more guys?
Dude, how you doing? Don't rush me.
It's like they've all developed their own traits and skills between films. They're just a computer hacker and a contortionist away from being able to rob 3 casinos in one night. The Wicked guys have guns with sights on them and a better range, but sure, Thomas and his trusty pea shooter are enough to suppress these assholes.
All right, boys, we're here.
I have got to listen to a recording of Thomas and his crew planning this f***ing thing out. So, when we go after the train, Wicked will definitely send one of their airships. It's imperative that the airship follows Jorge and Brenda, so we can lead them into a trap. Once they send out their ground troops and we subdue them, we'll sneak someone in to steal their airship, which Jorge definitely can fly, and get there before Wicked's train guards can cause any trouble. The airship will then lift the train cars to freedom after this is done. Has everyone snorted their share of the confidence cocaine? Good, let's do this. So is the soldier waiting to not have a good shot to try and kill Vince?
You guys okay?
Yay! People I'm sure were in the last movie, which I literally just watched but can't remember them at all, but glad they're okay.
Sorry.
Oh, what? You mean the locate Minho yelling in a sea of shouting people method didn't work? But it seems so foolproof.
We're getting the hell out of here. We're gonna go to a place where Wicked will never find you. A place you can start over.
Even though the whole premise of this series is that there isn't anywhere to go if they don't find a cure for the flare.
May I help you?
The only reason Brenda is wearing these pants with a leg zipper and Jorge is invading her personal space is to show you, the viewer, she still has that crank bite from the last movie. I'm telling you, there was just no other way to remind you of this.
You're lucky you found us at all. Get us on the move a lot.
On the move, from where to what other location? We find out later that Wicked wants to take these kids to a city, so why didn't they already do that? In the last movie, Wicked's schedule was accelerated to the point that Ava Page wanted kids immediately, so why all the train rides?
It took us 6 months to get here.
I mean, seriously, what was Wicked doing with the kids for 6 months that didn't involve taking them to whatever city they needed to take them to?
The last city. It was their whole base of operations.
But instead of taking the kids directly from the Glade in the first movie to the last city, they took them to some other remote facility for some reason, for tests that they surely could have done at the base of operations. And we could have avoided the Scorch trials altogether, and that would have made me happy.
But you can't ask me to put those kids on the line for one man.
You did it in Saving Private Ryan, and nothing bad happened to— Oh.
Where do you think you're going then?
Some asshole is about to do some in the middle of the night while everyone is sleeping, but some other asshole somehow knows it and stops them or joins them cliché. Also, I understand having some sort of hero complex, but how exactly did Thomas think he was going to succeed by going alone? Luckily, the script provided him with reinforcements. This would be exciting, except almost 5 hours into this trilogy and I still have no f***ing clue what these mazes have to do with I mean, at least they're trying something here. And this won't just be Minho thinking he's back at the maze, but he's actually somewhere else. Damn it! Hey, remember the 2014 classic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Yeah, this is the exact plot of that movie, right? Wicked is draining these mutant teenagers of their blood to create an antidote to a virus, which is exactly what happened in that movie. I just thought I'd point that out. Don't tell me when the books were published. I don't want to know that. La 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 la.
It's not as effective as the maze, but it seems to be working.
How is the maze f***ing effective? Answer one goddamn question, movie. Why does YA dystopia have to be so convoluted with mazes and hungers and divergence? Yeah, good idea. Turn on your headlights when you're several hundred feet inside the tunnel already.
Just take it nice and slow.
Does Frypan have the option to take it any other way? They're in a tunnel with a lot of trashed car obstacles to drive around. Newt needs to improve his backseat driving skills.
It's okay. It's just one, so.
Yeah, I mean, totally. If you only see one right now, that means there's only one. And that's all there will ever be forever and ever. Amazing how these cranks, which do nothing but screech and run haphazardly towards human flesh, managed enough self-control for a stealth attack this time. Guys, was Michael Jackson's Thriller always this shitty? God, the things you love when you're a kid. Brenda and Jorge Ex Machina. Also, you gotta love how they plow through all these cranks and don't even once think their friends might be in the middle of all this. I guess they could see them in the f***ing dark and Also, you're telling me this loud-ass truck drove through the tunnel and it didn't attract the attention of one f***ing crank? In the previous shot, there was clearly a horde of cranks in front of them. And now there's nothing.
Yeah, unless they figured out some other way to keep the cranks out.
World War Z, Christmas with the Cranks 2, High Voltage.
She's gonna be there too.
These movies play the pronoun game to an annoying degree. Just f***ing say Teresa, Newt. Everyone else would.
We've never been this close to a cure. And we've sacrificed a lot to get this far.
Seems like you've wasted the last 3 years running kids through mazes, but hey, progress.
All these people trying to find their way in, you think you're gonna find something they can't? Came this far, I'm not turning back now.
Sure, why formulate a plan when just running headfirst into a conflict is the best policy?
Thomas, this doesn't feel right.
Neither does a Maze Runner movie clocking in at 2 hours and 21 minutes, but alas, here we are. We find out later that these guys are actually on Thomas's side, which is lucky for everyone involved since Thomas's friends ran into some random alcove where these guys just happen to be.
Kill Chuck. Yeah, I know. I remember. I was there too, all right? But I also remember that he was stung and half out of his mind.
But when he wasn't stung and half out of his mind, Gally tied Thomas and Teresa up to poles to be griever sacrifices. So I think Newt needs to let Thomas do his thing.
After the maze, I got picked up by a group headed to the city.
They were just passing by the Wicked facility. Decided to go in for whatever reason, amazingly found me before I died, healed me, and we avoided Wicked's airships all the way here. So that's all you need to know about the miraculous recovery. Junior Mint? Ah, Red Skull!
2 can go for now.
Zombie Goggins is telling Thomas this to ensure that he comes back, because he wants to make sure that if he saves Minho, he'll bring the death cure back with him. But after this, when the plan is in motion, he allows everyone to go beyond the wall, even though he still doesn't have the cure. So what's the point? Now, you might be saying Zombie Goggins doesn't care about the cure and just wants to destroy Wicked, but the same principles apply. This scene does not come back in any way to the plot of this movie.
Be careful, Thomas.
Jorge plays the Han Solo game to try and fool one audience member that he's not going to save the day like he always does.
How are you feeling? Okay.
So in the end, these are just more competently made Resident Evil films, right? But somehow worse?
Definitely up security. I'm guessing you Shanks have something to do with that.
And yet, none of those big airships are flying overhead that detected Thomas's sensor earlier.
Yeah, I thought you said you had a way in.
I might.
However, there was absolutely no reason to explain what it was before we got this far. Also, can you believe this f***hole Thomas wanted to go by himself earlier? How f***ed would he be right now if his awesome friends didn't stalk him and tag along?
I said I had a way in. I didn't say you were gonna like it.
Because that's how we succeed in this world. Dangle an unknown solution to people's problems and spring the details on them when they've gone too far to object. So wait, they went back? They went through all that trouble so that Gally could show them the building and that Teresa is working there. Couldn't he have just told them that?
All I know is that Wicked must have put me in that maze for a reason. Maybe it was literally just so they could tell the difference between immunes like you and people like me.
When did this asshole get stung or bitten? You'd think with a character like Newt there would have been a dramatic scene where we saw this, and maybe there was. But I totally missed it, and that's the movie's fault, not mine. Well, maybe it is my fault, but I don't really care.
You're going to save her, and you can save so many others.
We're just going to have to Clockwork Orange the shit out of you every day. But it's for the kids, Minho.
I hate to see it.
So does Thomas know Teresa's schedule at this point? Think about how he got here. She thought she saw him at a crosswalk, and then he disappeared. So I guess he thought she'd be there, hoped she'd see him, and then further hoped that she would chase after a phantom.
You've had a bit of a setback. This is nothing we're not used to.
Not this time. The virus is airborne. It's inside the walls.
I hate scenes like this because it gives new information without any real context. Is this a new development that the virus is airborne? Or has it always been that way? There's got to be a reason why everyone in this town wears surgical masks. Is she saying those won't help them anymore? Is the virus stronger? Did it get through the walls when Thomas and the others snuck inside? During Ava's exposition dump in the first movie, she never explained if the virus was contracted from animal bites or from the air, so if we know?
The serum was our last chance. Anyone not already infected will be inside of a month.
Dr. Page literally rested all her laurels on Minho. What doctor risks everything on that small of a sample size?
When was our last treatment?
Last time we saw you.
But that was months ago. Thomas, that's not possible.
Come on, Teresa. You're a scientist. You should know that they gave her Thomas's blood and that Thomas is Jesus by now. It's so frustrating when movies do this. I mean, what could it be? Why isn't Brenda a zombie already? Why isn't she singing Cranberries tunes? Good thing Wicked's highly secure headquarters doesn't require any kind of ID for their faceless guards, or this plan was cooked from second one.
That's funny. System's glitching.
I'll go check it out.
This works.
The vault. How do I get in?
I can't.
Man, Galley gives up super easy. He was ready to cut off Teresa's thumb earlier, but can't put some pressure on a single guard to find out information?
He's not here.
This slog of a build-up to finally saving Minho makes the 3 seasons we had to wait for Jin and Soon to reunite on Lost seem like nothing.
Somebody's moved him up to the medical wing. Thomas, that's on the other side of the building.
You know, so that this movie can go on for another hour. Where did Jansen even come from? Was he just waiting beside the elevator door? And if so, why wasn't he already walking in before the doors started closing?
I promise I can protect you.
Yeah? Like you protected Minho? What are you doing?
The same thing this guy always does, man. Aren't you used to it by now?
When the hell does it stop?
It stops when we find a cure.
There is no goddamn cure.
This is essentially the second time they're having a conversation about the magical properties of Thomas's blood, but Teresa can't figure out how to tell him about it without this dickhead flying off the handle. Jeez, how has Wicked not figured out that the good guys stormed this room a minute ago and took out a bunch of guards? Like, does anyone even check up on these people? Yeah, yell for him. That worked so great last time. This motherfucker stole this earlier, but since then, he's been tased and sedated. So it's good to see Minho's grip stay so strong during all of that, not to mention his hiding skills.
Okay. It's doable.
Surface tensions aside, I guess that water is deep enough so they don't crash into the floor at the bottom.
You three, don't move!
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Well, Thomas, you've got people all over the building looking for you, and you just made a huge spectacle by jumping out of the window into the pool, so this really shouldn't surprise you at all. We find out in a second that this is Galley, and I'm wondering, why did he even let it get this far before shooting the other guards?
Callie? I'll explain later.
It won't make much sense, and I barely understand it myself, but all you need to know is that he's alive and this movie never ends.
Declare martial law. No one leaves until they're found.
Considering it's already been established that no one is allowed re-entry back into the city,
Why we now denied all entry?
then why would anyone be leaving? My question is, how did they think this plan was going to work? She's driving a huge bus. It's not like they can hide in a city with a curfew patrolled by Wicked. This was doomed from the start, but it looks like the movie is telling us it's an unlucky snag. Luckily, the roadblock didn't happen earlier than this, and it's precisely where the next part of the plan had to take place, and Wicked's army is a bunch of incompetent assholes. Plus, once again I ask, where are the airships? This has zero chance of keeping everyone alive or unhurt. The conditions in the sweet hereafter were safer than this. Give me a goddamn break. At least tell me little Timmy died or something. Don't tell me everyone survived this. I haven't seen a bus this erect since I accidentally got invited to that orgy at Jerome Bettis' house. This bus has better comedic and dramatic timing than the majority of the cast. Hollywood, we need to discuss your Wilhelm scream choices. How the f*** did Jorge know where to fly? How did he even know they needed help? If they were part of the plan, why was Brenda so surprised to see the airship? The problem with a movie where the heroes don't tell you what the ultimate plan is, and tons of things go wrong, is that when the ex machinas happen, you have to back up and wonder who knew what and when. Wouldn't it have been much better to hear the plan and have Jorge say, if I don't hear from you at such and such time, I'm gonna come find you at location X? What the f*** weapon did that? Does somebody have Godzilla fighting with them? Fun fact, if you splice this into the Hunger Games, the Divergent series, the Purge, or Cloverfield, nobody can tell the difference. Okay, so is this the crank coming out of Newt trying to kill Thomas? Because I thought cranks were essentially zombies and didn't use weapons. Look on the bright side, Newt. You don't have to be a part of this movie anymore. Excuse me, I need to go find some alone time somewhere in this riot.
You can save us all.
Too bad Wicked didn't figure this shit out prior to going all willy-nilly and using the let's put them in mazes and see what happens strategy.
Okay, that's enough.
I don't know, but maybe Jansen should have led with the gun. These missiles could have killed Thomas and the cure to the flare virus, but who gives a shit, right? Viva la revolution! Man, the revolutionaries really should have coordinated with the people who made the attack on this city possible. They're gonna kill the guy with the cure, man. God damn it. Try another plan, man. It's obvious they aren't gonna kill you, so why shoot at the guy who can save everybody with his magic blood, and the one person who can synthesize it? As Game of Thrones here stalks Thomas and Teresa, and we have about 12 minutes left in the whole series, I'd like to know something. The f*** was up with that maze trial in the first movie? What were the scientists hoping to discover? All we got was some vague explanation from Dr. Page about how Minho's blood got more potent, but that whole thing was a bunch of bullshit, right? They endangered the lives of the people who could save them. I could honestly rant about everything they did in The Maze Runner, but it would require an hour of ranting time.
Missed you, little
Did I?
How does Thomas know that cracking the glass would eventually make these glass doors completely break? And if he knows that, how did Jansen not know that? They better get off that roof before they're CGI'd to death.
I'm sorry. I tried.
What? I know she's hot, Thomas, but come on. The power of the boner can make you forget all your friends that have perished because of her. Actually, I don't have a good answer to this. Well, everything seems hopeless, so about time for that airship to show up. Teresa sacrifices herself, God knows why. But I think it has something to do with the fact that Brenda is also in love with Thomas. And because Brenda is 100% good and Teresa is human with complex beliefs and thinks about the big picture, she's the one who's got to die. I guess Brenda won by default.
This is gonna be a good home for us.
Pretty sure Thomas will find a way to f that up.
Dear Thomas,
New duration.
this is the first letter I can remember writing.
Despite that, you'll see that my cursive handwriting is amazing.
But from that moment you ran into the maze, I knew I would follow you anywhere.
Which is a total lie. Thomas running into the maze for the first time was incredibly stupid, and he should have died. I think what Newt meant to say was, when I saw you miraculously emerge from the maze alive, I still hesitated to follow you, but this is my dying letter, so f it. I always knew you were the guy to follow. You know what's amazing about this rock with dead people's names on it? Nobody shared a first name. There wasn't a John B. or a Sarah M. Nope. In the future, they figured out how to give nobody the same name as another person.
You're all going to die down here.
Hey, Smoothskin, you need something?
Oh no, I just made my last payment.
What's this war in the heart of nature? Why does nature vie with itself? The land contend with the sea.
This place used to be off limits, man, because some drunk freshman fell off. He went right down the middle, smacking his head on every beam, man.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
Every time I'm faced with a decision, I close my eyes and see the same picture. Whenever I consider an action, I ask myself, will this action help to make this picture a reality? A picture of me on the Iron Throne. And you by my side.
Ah, no, the corn! Paul Newman's gonna have my legs broke.
All I want is to fight on the top of a train! Is that too much to ask?
Let's go get the kicked out of us by love.
Okay. It's doable. Aim for the bushes.
Thomas, can you hear me?
Tommy, can you hear me?
Hey, Greenie. Good luck.
People, let me tell you about my best friend.